Good evening, everyone. Warmly welcome to the recap session uh, for EEX3467, fundamentals of the software engineering as well as the programming principles are the main concepts of this subject. So tomorrow you have your final examination. So up to now you did a very good job. That's why you are here. And tomorrow will be another very challenging day in your life. So the objective is not to discuss any content in the paper, but give an overview uh, of this story. So we'll have a quick revision and see whether you have grabbed all of these things. I have muted temporarily all the students to make the program much easy. Then I will let you to speak if you want, and warmly welcome all the chat information also. So we'll see whether the things that the structure of the paper, which is a very common question that many students asked. I know actually the question is what is the structure, in the sense you most of students are expecting previous year examination paper or similar kind of questions, paraphrase questions, but actually there's no paraphrase questions in this time. I don't like that kind of a thing, because wherever I'm doing whatever the things that I'm doing, I should not do that. So last year questions might not in there, but there could be some of general instances or general cases might be there. So the question paper consists of 4 questions and 25 marks assigned for each question. You should answer all these questions and mainly focused on 50% of theoretical aspects as well as 50% of practical experiences and practical knowledge that you have gained from the subject. So since you have done a very good job in your lab 1 and lab 2, so you have very good knowledge in C programming now. So these lab 1, lab 2 and lab 3 focused on C programming. So this examination paper would evaluate kind of C programming experience, whether you have grasped the core concepts of programming. Actually, there could be some of cases that students might not very good in C, but yes, of course, that would be not a major challenge. Whatever the things that you can do, you just focus on that. And we gave a mini project to answer to you. Everyone in here completed the mini project. So from that mini project, you have gained practical experiences in software engineering, how to gather the information, what are the challenges that you are facing in information gathering, what kind of functional requirements that the end users are expecting, what kind of non-functional requirements that you should inform to the customer or the client. So these kinds of things are very common things that you have learned by completing this mini project. So in the C programming related questions, there might be 1 or 2 questions, or sometimes there might be 2.5 C programming related questions. Why it's 2.5 as the sense what I'm telling? Whatever the programming question, theoretical question, if you are taking an example from C programming and if you can explain, elaborate using a code, so that's the best answer that you can give for the full marks. So if you are explaining a core concept in programming, for an example, we'll take what the question is. Assume we have a question that if there's any disturbances, I'll stop this program as it is. Right. Uh, Basically, now questions, these questions might be very easy. So it's not complicated and it's not uh, really hard for you. But whenever you are writing an answer, a theoretical question using C programming or programming languages at least, then you could be able to get a good mark because it confirms your knowledge in a given subject area apart from the theoretical things. Because I personally know there are many people who are very good in theory, but if I ask a question to implement it, many people lags in there. So you should be not another person that who face the same scenario. Whatever the theoretical things that you know, you should be able to explain using a practical scenario or a practical content. So the practical content in this subject matter is mainly it could be a diagrammatic explanation plus there could be a coding explanation. So you could be use any code to explain any concept. That's a plus point and a value added point for you. uh, so there could be something that full code, full scenarios might be there. I will discuss this under the C questions. There could be full scenarios, hover written C programs like fill in the blanks, because yesterday many kids asked me for uh, what we call this fill in the blanks. So seems many kids needs to have this fill in the blanks. They enjoy with this fill in the blanks. So I have tried to update the things to fill in the blanks. I'm not sure. We'll see tomorrow morning how the paper is. There could be a question for fill in the blanks, but if it is not, don't worry. You just think writing a program, right? Next, that's the high level overview of the paper. Any questions from this? You can use the chat for a while, then I will enable the microphones for you after my discussion, so you could be ask any general question that you want to clarify. Any question up to now? You can use the chat. I have enabled the chat. I think I have given an example. All good. All right. So uh, during this like this subject focused on diagrammatic explanations that involve in software engineering. So basically we have learned use case diagrams, function oriented design, flow charts, basically in this case. So you should be able to clearly represent a complete use case diagram. I will share a quick video for within 5 minutes, like a 5 minutes video around how to quickly draw a use case diagram. Perhaps you are very well in these use case diagrams because day one onwards you did many use case diagrams. So again, I will give a quick recap as a separate video for you to grasp all these concepts. What is this use case diagram is. Um, Example about, yes, right. So we have use case diagrams and use case narratives we have. Sometimes you haven't gone through use case narratives, but there could be a possibility. So please go through, it's in the session 5. You don't want to have very detailed explanation of these use case narratives, but you should have a very good, like basic understanding, not a very good, basic understanding what is this use case narrative, and the core aspects, input output process, and preconditions, post conditions, kind of a small table. A small table could be really valuable for your answers. And if there's a question to have a use case diagram narrative, so you should be able to complete this kind of a table. So it's a something that sometimes you miss these kinds of things. I'm not sure whether these might be in the paper or not. Even I haven't seen the paper now. So there could be a possibility to have this kind of a scenario in there, right? Then under the functional oriented design in this, that's in the session 7, you should have a basic understanding of DFDs, data flow diagrams, as well as NS chart. So just go through this DFD diagrams and get very high level this understanding what is a use case, sorry, what is a DFD diagram and what happens in a DFD diagram. I don't think you want to learn how to draw these DFT diagrams and NS charts. But if you have something in your hands, sometimes you might be stronger than the others. Every time, as much as you can grasp, is you are much as stronger. So the DFT diagram is something that valuable for you again. Just grasp the core concept of these DFT diagrams and NS charts, especially under the functional oriented design. So you should be able to uh, briefly describe what is a functional oriented design means, what kind of aspects in the functional oriented design we have, and what kind of scenarios that a given scenario, small diagrams might be there in DFTs as well as NS charts. If you miss these things, quickly go through and see whether you are solid, or at least some up to some extent that you can go for the DFT diagrams and stuff. The third one is flowchart. It's the basic logical flow of a given scenario. So you should be able to draw a complete flowchart, or else there might be a flowchart given for you to implement a C program. That kind of a scenario might be there. Or simply you should understand what is this flowchart, and you should be able to read and interpret a flowchart uh, in a software engineer's point of view. So those are the main things under the diagrams that you should know before you uh, attending facing the tomorrow examination under the diagrammatic aspects in software engineering. Let me dive into the questions that you have. Can you explain and give the question is, can you explain and give example about system flowchart? System flowchart, you don't bother with any specific system flowchart. You just think about a flowchart, a given scenario, how it starts, what is the symbol for start, where are the logical conditions we have, what is the standard notation or the icon that we are using for the logics and iterations, as well as inputs kind of thing. So I believe that's more than enough. So that's a very high level story of a flowchart. So any scenario, any given scenario, there might be a flowchart. For an example, in your examination, you have taken the question, you start the paper, you have take the question number one. Question number one is hard, so you are deciding, you have a condition whether you are going to answer this question one or not. If there's a condition, then you can use that standard icon. Where's that icon? Do we have this icon? Right, this is the icon that you have to go for a logical scenario. Whether if it is true, you go for this path. If it is false, you go for this path. This is the question, right? You are selecting this question. If it is yes, you go for this path, answer the question. If it is no, then you have another path. There might be some iterations in the scenario, like have partially completed and you'll back to this kind of a things. These are some very basic situations that you might have an understanding in this scenario of these flow charts, right? We'll go to the next question that you have. Question number, yes. Will you give past marks if some of your view has given or shown some knowledge in what you are expecting in the paper, but his or her answer is not full? This, of course, I'll give partial marks. Don't worry. The question is asking whether if there's a part of the answer is written, so whether I'm giving full marks or not. My answer is yes, of course, I'll give part marks. Then there's another question. What about control flow graphs? I don't think so. You want to focus a lot with control flow graphs, but if you have a general understanding, that's great. Next question is, can you explain pseudocode with an example? Right. This is a very simple scenario. Pseudocodes are just plain all English that we are speaking, plain English that we are speaking. You go to here, you come to here, you do this and that. I don't think about these pseudocodes in a very serious manner. These are just a very simple English statements that we are writing to explain a given scenario. We don't bother a lot with this grammar and other aspects. We just focus on the idea to get an idea what kind of situation is given in here. So before you are writing a program, sometimes you are writing in plain English. Sometimes you just write, okay, I'll do this and that and all these things. So that's a pseudocode. Right? That's an example for a pseudocode. In a scenario, we can write a pseudocode. It's with very simple scenario, simple situation. And so how to have these pseudocodes? Um, Pseudocodes are not a rot. There's no standards that we have. Don't worry. Like not a large standards. We have very general, like what we call broadly acceptable contents we have in pseudocodes. There's no very hard and fast rules, but some of the people might merge these kinds of things we have. But yes, mostly it's open. These pseudocodes, what I believe is, it's my personal point of view. Pseudocodes are too broad, so you don't want to bother a lot. If you have given a pseudocode, you just read and understand. If there's a flowchart that you need to convert into pseudocode, you just write in plain English. If you have a pseudocode given, and if they are asking, if in the paper they are asking to write a C code, you just read it and understand what is the scenario is. Then all you need to do is you need to implement it. So that's it. It's plain English. Don't worry. Plain English means the normal English that we are using in our day-to-day life. Right. Flow control flow charts. I have discussed it. What is control flow graph? That's. I don't think so. You don't want to bother a lot. Boundary analysis. Yeah, we'll discuss it in the testing. What we can do is actually, shall we? Yeah, if there's a time that I have a time, then I will prepare a quick discussion for the boundary analysis and the equal partitioning. Right. These are easy contexts, concepts. Equal partitioning is you are dividing into different parts for a given scenario, which makes equal parts in a given context. For an example, if you have 0 to 100, if we have equal partitioning into two partitions we want, then we can say 0 to 50, 50 to 100. So simply we divide by 2. If you want to have four partitions, then you can say 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So that kind of a very high level situation is this equal partitioning. So if there's time permits, I will discuss it. But in your book that I have seen, the board boundary analysis and the equal partitioning is in there. Since all of these are things in the past paper, sometimes this time it might be not in there, but I'm not sure. Right? Sometimes there might be. So don't worry. Next question. Um, do we need to have deep practical application knowledge of arrays and pointers in C? Why not? Why not? You have very good understanding in arrays because you did three practical examples through three lab practicals, right? So you know very well in arrays. So I'm pretty sure. Uh, there's a question. I hope there's no patterns, but I think there will be a star pattern. We'll see, because I like star patterns, right? So like lucky stars and all of these things. We'll see. Uh, because I like these star patterns, but I'm not sure. I can't give a guarantee. When we see this, the paper, there were with stars in the eyes for sure. Yes, of course. Panic can attack. I like it. Right. So yes, of course, there could be a star pattern sometimes, sometimes not. Right. The focus management. Yes, I'll discuss it later on. Psychometric complexity standard method. Yes, we'll discuss later on. Right. So those are the questions that ask up to now. So I believe I have given some answers for you to make your life easy. Any other questions you have? In flow chart questions, we need to add start and end, calculate part. Yeah, it's a nice question. Start and end the calculation of these things. Yeah, I don't, yeah, I don't think so. You want to focus a lot, right? I don't want to. So we'll skip that question. I don't think that's really important for this case. Right. Let's see. Under the C programming, what are the things that you are supposed to understand there might be many scenarios in the C programming questions. One could be from a scenario, that means paragraphs, given set of paragraphs for you. So from these paragraphs, you could be able to explain, you should be able to grasp the core concepts that we want to implement in a real world scenario. So that's a real world scenario that given for you, a set of information given, some paragraphs. What we are telling in industries, that's user stories, right? Actually there could be some user story points and stuff. So a scenario is given for you. Then in the question paper it might be asked to write a C program for this scenario. There might be another point that given a pseudocode, then implement the pseudocode in C programming. Or else there might be an algorithm that given for you to implement it in C programming. Any any uh, any aspects might be there, so you should focus on these kinds of things. So we have these kinds of aspects, what kind of things are these algorithms, and you should know what happens in an algorithm. You should be able to read basics of these algorithms, basic understanding of an algorithm and how this algorithm works, how to implement a very simple algorithm in C programming. So these are the core facts that you are supposed to learn. Then under the implementation level or code level, what you need to do is you need to understand thoroughly what kind of variables, variable types. Then we have different kinds of variables like global variables, local variables. We have many aspects might be there, so you need to focus on. Under the conditions, there might be if else conditions, like for an example. Then we have loops, for loops, while loops, nested loops, many kind of loops might be there that you should know. You should know how to get an input from a user. It might be a numerical input, it might be character input, it might be a boolean input. So you should be able to write proper code in this case. So you should memorize bit of logical aspects in this case. I'm pretty sure you are very well because you did um, three labs very well. So especially the lab one and lab two, you are very good. You did marvelous job. So you know all these inputs and handling and stuff very well. So I'm not. I'm really confident actually. I'm really confident with these students that you do this very well. Then the functions, return statements, why you are using this return statement, what is the value that you should return in a given scenario. So these kinds of things might be there. Then the file read and write, IO operations, the basics of the IO operations. So I'm really happy to see a complete program that you are writing. Sometimes very easy program might be there. Sometimes it might be very hard, but I don't know. It's up to the students' logical thinking, practical experience, the number of programs that you read. Actually, for some students, C is very easy. Some students C is hard, but generally what I believe is if you know the core concepts of variables, conditions, loops, user input handling, functions, and other aspects. So that's the core and the fundamental knowledge that you need to learn from this subject. So that's the major story that you should understand very well. Right. Apart from this C programming questions, I'm not sure how the questions will be there, but the objective of this subject is basically having this core and overview of this C programming, which is a very easy subject, very easy language for everyone. I'm pretty sure you'll do the best for this C programming, and especially if you are weak in C programming or coding, what my suggestion is, don't start writing any code until you complete your theoretical questions. First of all, you complete all your theoretical aspects, then you could go for the C program. So then your life is much easier. Unless what happens, you might spend a lot of time for C programming, and at the end of the day you will get confused what to do. You don't have time, and all these issues. Actually this paper is not I don't think you want 3 hours. It's basically 2 hours is more than enough. But by considering all these XYZ facts, uh, it was given 3 hours. But for sure, I believe you can do it within 2 hours. That much of easy paper you, but for general point of view. But I don't know for you how it feels. In general, I believe it's not a very complicated paper, but it's not a very easy paper too. Even for a what we call good, very good student, it might take bit of logical thinking and other stuff to write proper answers. And in the other hand, if you are very good in C programming, start with C programming questions. Take a separate paper and write the answer in there. There might be one or two or three C programming questions, or there might be around very hard C programming question. If it is you feel it is really hard, yes, of course, the best thing is skip it. Skip it and try later on. If it is very easy, all these three C programming questions or two programming questions or one question or whatever the questions that you are facing, you write all these questions, then you go to the theoretical things. So it depends on the student, the skill set that you have upgraded during this time. So that's the story that I want to tell you for this C programming. Let's see what are the questions that you have. Uh, there's a question whether you need to focus on file handling. Yes, of course, there could be a scenario that what we call, there could be a situation that you need to read and write to a file, text file or something. So there's a possibility to have that kind of a question. Is there's a student who is crying for asking star patterns. Yes, of course, you can enjoy tomorrow also. You did the lucky pattern, right? So tomorrow you have another kind of interesting pattern. uh, I have given another nice pattern. Actually, it's a very nice pattern, but that's fine, right? Don't think a lot. There might be not even a single star pattern question. I'm just kidding you, right? Can you explain this question, sir? But the question is missing. What is this question? Uh, this is a very detailed question. It's just a simple flowchart given, and yes, I'll try my best. Try my best to this question. Give me a second whether I can discuss it now. It might take a bit of time, actually. I'll try to have a quick video on this. That's what we can do, right? For this question, there's a question from Ilham. Ilham, I will try to have a video for you. I'm not sure because it takes a bit of time. Uh, Can we discuss some theoretical questions? Yes, I'm always discussing. How about use case diagram? Yes, of course, there could be a very interesting one or two or three use case diagrams that you need to focus on. All the use case diagrams are very easy. Uh, Actually, not. There could be something that you have to think. Don't worry. I'll try to have another video clip for that. Use case diagrams, and I'll try to discuss this question also. Right. Questions. What is this? They are having questions based on some classes or OP. Well, I don't think you want to have classes and OOP. You might learn in another subject. I don't think you want to focus a lot with this. So, any other questions? Yes. Are you experimenting with us? Because 3467 is going to remove from next year onwards. That's why new style of testing from traditional ones. Well, we are not removing 3467. Uh, it will be there for long time. That's why new style of testing from traditional ones. I can understand that question. Uh, yes, you have 3467. You have, but name might be there. I don't know the number system, right? Whether it is EXO, EIO, ES or something. I don't know whether it's 3467 or whatever. It might be 3167 or whatever. Numbering system might be changed, but the concept, the topics might be there as it is. Um, Important coding paths, yes, of course. Important coding paths that you need to define the variables. Then you need to define looping conditions. Uh, Looping for like either might be for or while or whatever. Then condition, if else conditions. Then nested if else, nested loops, nested conditions kind of things are the important things. Question, function and non-functional definition come. Sometimes it might come in function and non-functional requirements. Can you score 100 out of 100 this paper? I'm pretty sure I can't. Right. Next question. Uh, they are like black box and white box explanation theoretical questions. Yes, there might be. White box and black box testing might be related to this story. But the section we have to lock on theoretical section. Theoretical section actually, I'll discuss that software engineering core concepts, the theory aspects. This is the practical question. Black box and white box. According to Dr. Davdare, above the boundary box, naming should be done. Some are putting name inside. Say it also correct. Yes, that's fine. Right? Yeah, that's fine. The question is asking, according to Dr. Dabare, above the boundary box, the naming should be done. Some are putting the name inside and say it also. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Next question. Should we draw straight lines for use case diagrams? No curved lines. You should have straight lines. So you should have uh, a ruler tomorrow, right? If there's curves, not straight lines, I don't give marks for you because it should be a very clear and nice diagram. If it is fully missed, I don't give full marks, even partial marks, very low marks I'll give if it is like bad curves and all of these things. The question is right, that one. Next question. Yeah, I'm giving the top tips. See, they're asking, please give us tips. I'm giving all the tips now, almost the paper. Next question. Do we need to focus on software security, software quality? Yes, of course. Of course, you need to focus on software security, software quality, like non-functional requirements. It's a must. Next question. Do we have to write full code? Yes, of course. Next question. Can you stop and disable the chat here? Give time, ask questions after unmuting themselves, because these students are talking unnecessarily. I don't know what is this question. Stop and disable the chat here and give time to ask any questions after unmuting. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We'll take it. Then why 4 years? What is this? I can't understand. Then we are done. I don't know that. If we write some part of the code, will you give? The question is, if we write part of the codes, will you give marks for that, or do we need to complete code? If there's partial marks, partial code given, for an example, if it's just the include statement is given, or just void statements or something, that very simple print statement or something given, I'll give very little amount of marks. If you want full marks, it should be fully functioning programming should be there. If it is partial, I'll give small mark, some amount of marks according to the effort that you have given. So if you are not very good in C, what I suggest is actually you skip it and try to do other things, then come to the C programming, unless time will be a big problem. Question, any software life cycle? I'll discuss it later on. Include fill in the blanks. I don't want fill in the blanks. Do we have MCQ questions? No MCQ questions. No MCQ questions at all. See, very babyish. All right, I think I have answered all the questions. We'll jump into the next slide. Yes, software development, which is the theoretical aspect that you need to focus on. So you need to specifically focus on functional requirements and non-functional requirements. I have given a couple of videos to quick recap these things. I believe you have gone through. If you haven't gone through, please go through. And I'll try to have another couple of videos, but I'm not sure if I have time. For sure, I will create at least 1 or 2 videos regarding the essential topics that you are asking in here. You should be able to clearly understand what is a functional requirement is, and identify a functional requirement from a given paragraph. Then non-functional requirements, you have to identify from there. Likewise, what are the non-functional requirements? Then for a given scenario, what are the most important non-functional requirements? Then why those are important, and you should be able to write this and that and all of these things. And software development life cycle, under the session 3, this is a very important question. You should know in and out in software development life cycle. So if you haven't check it, please go through. Then the programming core concepts might be there, like top down, bottom up, all of these things. There might be some functional programming, then some historical stories, different paradigms in software engineering. These kinds of things might be like 1 or 2 marks might in your hands. Then software testing, you should have the essentials of the software testing, but I believe that is a huge part of the paper, because it carries a lot of things. Because software development, it's C programming, coding and implementation. The next biggest part is having implemented things to be tested. So without testing, we are unable to come up to a nice and very valuable thing. So you should have a very good and thorough understanding what happens in testing, right? Only the essentials means, for there's another subject for software testing, so I'm not going to that deeper, but the core concepts related to the software engineering should be in your head before you are attending tomorrow examination, you are facing for tomorrow examination. So my suggestion is go through all these things quickly. What is this equal partitioning and what happens in these psychometric values and all of these things quickly. um, Quickly have a idea what kind of scenario is given in here. perhaps your life is much easier then. Further, you should have basics of the software programming, project management, like waterfall concepts, agile concepts. So you should have these kinds of things. Then you could be a very stronger person who is facing for the examination. These are the theoretical aspects that you should focus on the examination. Plus, even in the real life, these are the essentials that you should have in your hand. So I believe these are very easy things, and you have learned all of these things very well up to now. But if you miss something, oh, slides not visible. I'm so sorry. Right, right. So these are the core concepts that you need to focus on: functional requirements, non-functional requirements, software development life cycle. All the essential components are there. Then programming core concepts. What are the core concepts of this programming that you need to focus on? Uh, then the testing scenarios, the essential components of the testing, black box, white box, equal partitioning, and other related stuff, how you are doing, and all of these things should be there. Then the basics of the program project management, like waterfall, what is the waterfall, what is this agile, why we want this agile, what happens in agile, kind of things that you should be clearly elaborate in your paper, your answer. So these are the theoretical things, but now 50 percentage theory, 50 percentage practical means C programming more or less it's like around 35%, 35 percentage. Then the rest of the 15, whatever the theoretical things that you are writing, then you could be able to explain in C program. For example, if there's a concept in what we call uh, anything, what we call bottom up, right? Bottom up, so you should explain in C. See, this is the scenario in bottom up. This is what we are doing in here, or else in this kind of a scenario, what happens in this and that. All of these things that you can. Even in the testing, you can write some simple C programs if you're really interested to write in a very nice way. But think about the time. Time plays a huge role in this context. Right. What else? Yes. These are the theoretical things that I want to give in a recap for you. Any questions here? Any questions? Any questions? We'll see the questions. Life cycle, waterfall life cycle. Yes, of course. I believe you want. Paper include fill in the blanks. Are you again asking fill in the blanks, babies? Right, focus. There's a question. Do we need to focus SDLC? Yes, of course. Why not? That's what I have told. MCQ questions, not at all. Can't see the slides. That's fine. Done it. 21 to 27. Oh, it's too much. Uh, uh, everyone is willing to have a fill in the blanks. I just ask from them to have fill in the blanks. Uh, I see. Don't think about that. Even if there's fill in the blanks, it's a new question, right? Nothing else. You don't get the same question again. Guaranteed, there's no question like that. So even if it is fill in the blanks, guys, it's a different question. So it's a new program. So think in that scope. We don't get marks from previous labs mini projects. I don't know what is that question is. Will I have to write a complete C program? Yes, of course. I told many times. If this use case diagram structure is uh, this big diagram, yes, seems okay. Seems okay, but there are different crosses. That's a problem. That's fine. Right. So this diagram is generally okay. Not bad. How many pages does have in the paper? Very complicated question. Well, I think I can't remember actually. I can't remember actually. If I'm not mistaken, 8 papers or something. 8 or 5. I can't remember actually. Again, asking paper structure. I'll take you out. Right. Next. About this question. Yes, Ilham, I'll try to explain this scenario in a separate video, right? So I'll try to explain this question in a different thing. It might take a bit of time because 9 o'clock again, I have another meeting. What else? Do we have to focus on software release life cycle? What is this life cycle? I don't know. Postpone the examination. Very complicated question. 2 pages, not at all. All right. More pages, the more survival rate. That's why I ask. More pages, the more survival. I don't know what is that. More pages, more survival rate. I don't know what is that question is. Right. We'll come to the last things that we are discussing in here. Here we have common mistakes. So it's a very common mistake that many students are continuing the question paper without new pages. So you must have uh, different kinds of, sorry, different a new page for each question, right? So you should have a new page for each question, even if it is in parts. My suggestion is have a new page. So there might be, we'll give as much as papers. You don't want to worry, because if something missed, unfortunately, because even in my life I have this experience, uh, in the latter part, in the last couple of pages, in the last page there is another answer. So the answer is related to the question number 1. A student is mentioned D. I don't know what is this D. Then I am thinking this is question 4. The last question is D. There's no question like that. I have cut off. Then I have given 0 marks. Then after a while I realize no, the student's question number 1's D is here. So don't make this mistake. Get a new paper for each and every part. If you have, I don't think there's more than 15 parts for the entire paper. So don't think about these papers, right? So don't think about papers. If you are really worried, if there are a lot of consumption of these papers, white spaces, right? So you switch off a one light in a roadside, then you can save the money to the country, not for in the examination, right? Don't worry, we'll give as much as papers. Make it right, clear, detailed as much as you can do. This is a challenge for your life, right? If there's fill in the blanks, that's error. uh, okay. If there's fill in the blanks, what you are supposed to do is you should write in a paper properly, right? There might be numbers or there might be complete fill in the blanks. You should write it. If you are really worried, you can write the entire program, but it's just time consuming. You need to write only the answer, right? Because recently you did the Python, right? If I'm not mistaken, Python programming. There are many things that unwanted things that you wrote. I don't know how many of you did this one. Unwanted things, really unwanted things might be there. So why you are consuming your time to write the entire program? You just focus on just simple things. That's fine. Right. In case if you want to have any assumptions in your diagrams or C program or anywhere, you can take any assumption that you want. For an example, you might think this program won't work if it is this line is missing. So you take that assumption then write in the paper. Without this code, this program is not working. Hence I have taken this assumption and I'm proceeding with this and that. If your assumption is incorrect, you'll get no marks for that, but no minus marks, don't worry. Right? We'll cut off and give 0 marks based on your assumption if it is not a valid assumption. Then you should have your diagrams very clear and you should have labeled properly. It's a must to have these diagrams clearly detailed as well as labeled. In case if you are missed to have these kinds of things, these diagrams are not clear, diagrams are not well interpreted, for sure it might be a huge issue, especially if you are going for use case diagram, flow charts and stuff. Use a ruler, right? Use a ruler, uh, draw it clear as much as you can. Use red pen, sorry, you can use a blue pen or a black pen. You should not use a pencil for the diagrammatic things. If you are using a pencil, you will cut off it and will give 0 marks. Again, I'm telling you could not use a pencil for this case, because I know some crappy students drawing in a pencil for the sake of survival their life. I don't give any marks for pencil diagrams. I would assume once I'm marking, or whoever the marking examiners that we have, I will clearly instruct for everyone, if there's pencil diagrams, give 0 marks by assuming this is a rough work. This is not the answer, it's just a rough work. Yes, of course, you can have rough works in pencil, that's fine, but your final design should be in blue or black. So please understand, don't mess up your life. All right, perhaps that's all that I want to discuss with you. Again, we'll see any questions that I have to answer. Mm, Here's a question. Can you share the last paper answers? We don't have about that. Software quality I have discussed. If there's any word explanations like omission, yes, of course, you should write with an example, right? Can you send the slide PDF to WhatsApp group? Yes, of course, I can share it in the WhatsApp group and chat even. This paper is not like last year paper. New model. No, who told that? This is extract same like the last paper. There are 4 questions and answer all the questions. So extract same model questions are there. Yeah, extract model are following. There might be numerous questions. Yes, of course. Can we use correction pen since we can't use pencil? What I suggest is you just have a sketch at the very beginning in a rough paper, then draw it in another paper, right? So don't use correction pens a lot. It might be again huge mess up at the end of the day, because sometimes papers are glued together due to this kind of. How we write assumptions promptly? Yes. Whenever you are writing assumption, you should write at the very beginning. For an example, question 1, part B, you have some situation that you need to take an assumption. Then at the very beginning, what you need to do is you need to write your assumption is this. Based on this assumption, you are continuing these parts. And specifically, you need to mention this assumption affects in programming line number 12. Because without this assumption, program line 12 onwards, program won't execute. So that's an example that you can do. Yes. There's a question. What is this platitudes, ambiguities, omissions? So you can learn it. That's fine. Next question. I don't give answers for these kinds of complicated things. Right, next question. Can we change the question number in the answer field? Can we change the questions? Yes, you can answer in any order. That's fine. You can start question 4, then you'll go to 2, then you'll go to 1. Likewise, you can go back and forth, but you should have all the papers in a one single order. If it is 1, you should, if there's A, B, C, D, you should have 1 A, B, C, D in a one go. If it is here and there, for sure, examiners might mess up. Sometimes not only me, there might be many people might mark. So in such cases, some people might miss, obviously, right? Because we have large number of papers to mark. So there's a possibility to have this kind of a thing. So you should clearly understand your support is really needed. If you are messing up your paper, at the end of the day, you mess up yourself, because we are in a phrase that we are going for. So you should have this kind of a scenario. Please make sure to have, if there's 4 parts, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. If you haven't tried C, that's fine. You have A, B, D. But don't write anything in here and there. That makes mess. That's why I told, if you have A, B, C, D, question 1 A, question 1 B, question 1 C, question 1 D, you could have 4 different papers, a completely new paper. Then bind in a proper order, A, B, C, D. If you don't know, that's fine. You skip it, that paper, reject it, remove it, and paste, tie together and submit it. That's all. Right. What else? Mm, I'll try to have a psychometric complexity discussion, right? There's a video in this case, but I will try. I'm not sure, guys. At 9 o'clock, I have another video meeting. We'll see, right? We'll see what we can do. Slides in the WhatsApp group. Yes, of course. I don't think I'm gonna survive. I'm not good in drawing diagrams using pens. I wish to do my best. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Uh, still great practice, perhaps. Right. Basically, now, if you're not good in diagrams, that's fine. You just draw in pencil. Then, like, if you draw everything in a pencil, you just want to redraw all these things in a pen. So that's all. Quickly redraw. That's it. If it is a cycle, it turns out something else. If you did A-level mathematics, I don't think so. You will face this issue. That's fine. Let's go. Uh, what about assumptions in the use case diagram? Do we have? Yes, of course. At the very beginning, you have to write assumptions. At the very beginning, you should write the assumptions. Right. Any other questions? Well, all right. Feel that's all. Any other questions? Any other questions? What will the code base see like using for loops? Yes, of course, there could be very good, nice, very interesting patterns might be there, like not a star pattern. Sometimes it could be some hash patterns or something. Right. We'll have complete C programs. Alpha beta testing. Yes, of course, it's good to have, but not mandatory a lot. Can you share the marking schemes? We are unable to share any marking schemes with the students. All right, then. I believe yes, that's all. Right. Okay. Right. Uh, yes. Any other questions? No. All good then. All right, guys. Do the best, and I believe you can. Trust you. You can. Right. All the thing is tell. Trust yourself. Then you can do anything in this world. Right. Even everyone is saying no. If you are strong, you can. All right. Good luck then. CRC students can meet me tomorrow and have a selfie. Uh, Sometimes you might unable to do all of these things, but don't worry. I'll do my best. You'll do your best to get the best. All right. So that's all for this semester. Uh, Everyone, good luck and have a nice day and learn a bit more and come early in the morning with the record book and all of these things. I'll be in the WhatsApp around today 10:30, 11 around. So if you have any questions, you can message me. If I missed tomorrow morning, for sure, I will reply you. I'm going for another meeting quickly. Uh, that's all for this semester and this subject. Good luck. Do the best. We'll meet soon. See you. Bye bye then. Good night.